seems that audits, usually of the police, but sometimes of other government-type people, is something that's become somewhat popular among the so-called freedom movement. So I thought that was something worth taking a quick look at on this week's Don't Talk TV. Hello, my name's Nicholas Wansbutter. I'm a lawyer in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to Don't Talk TV. So recently, a friend of mine sent me, actually it was my volunteer PR guy, because he's on top of these things and making sure that I'm informed and have ideas for show topics, sent me a bunch of videos of various people doing police audits, where, let's be honest, they essentially stalk police, follow them around and film them, usually to demonstrate that they're wasting taxpayer money doing things that aren't really worthy of police doing, generally just to harass them and bother them. And I suppose the intent would be to raise awareness that police resources are being misapplied, that police budgets are bloated, they're using them to do all sorts of things that really as taxpayers we shouldn't be paying for, and then they sometimes get in trouble. So I thought that was something worth looking at. Now, we'll look quickly at whether this is even legal, but then more importantly, is it a good idea? Now, of course, this show isn't legal advice. This is my opinion of whether it's a good idea or not, but give you an idea of some of the potential consequences based on my experience and knowledge. So, firstly, in terms of specifically when it comes to police, is it legal to film police? Well, I think it's well established that it is. I direct viewers to episode 17 of Don't Talk TV, where I personally looked at this in some detail. There's also cases, as always, linked in the show description below. For example, Her Majesty the Queen and Xeraphonitis. Check out that, specifically paragraph 26. Makes it very clear that it's absolutely legal for citizens to film police, certainly when they're in a public setting. And we've also talked on Don't Talk TV about one-party consent when it comes to recording. So it's legal. Is it a good idea? I personally don't think it's a good idea. I mean, for one, I don't really know what you're going to accomplish other than annoying police. The average citizen is not going to care about these audits. It does have kind of a stalkerish feel to it. Now, maybe it's police, and you'd say, well, they signed up for this, they deserve to be harassed in this manner. I would respectfully disagree with that. I don't think police's jobs really need to be made any more difficult than they are. Granted, in some ways, the difficulty of their job can be overstated, but in other ways, they do have a really difficult job. I mean, a lot of them deal with stuff on a daily basis that none of us would ever want to deal with. I mean, dealing with drunk people, people who are high, people who are assaulting each other, people who are trying to assault the police. Since the advent of body cameras in Stratford, I've had the occasion to watch hundreds of hours of body camera footage, and you can really see what police deal with on a daily basis. And for the most part, with exceptions, I mean, there are cases where you see police not behaving the way you'd like them to behave, but there's also tons of footage where I see police exhibiting patience that I don't think I would have in that scenario. It would be very difficult to have. So is following them around, essentially stalking them and filming them, is that really going to accomplish much? I think there's better ways to try and get that point across. Get involved in politics. Get involved in local politics. I've spoken of this in previous episodes. Municipal politics are really the overlooked aspect of politics that actually have the most impact on your day-to-day life, but it's overlooked. Everyone always focuses on the federal politics. I mean, that's why whenever I have Trudeau mentioned in the show topic, it gets the most clicks, because everyone wants to hear about those federal politics. But really, the municipal politics, that's where you could really make a difference. And those are the people, other than the RCMP, those are the people who really impact what the police are doing, and to a lesser extent provincial when it comes to the OPP. although it's legal in and of itself to film the police and potentially other public figures, you do open yourself up to potential charges. So if your filming is actually preventing the police from doing their job, interfering with them investigating a crime, that could result in an obstruct justice charge. Now, maybe you'd beat the charge later, but do you really want to deal with that expense and stress of having to go through court? Something to consider. Similarly, if it's non-police officers, I think it'd be harder to make the case that police officers would be harassed in terms of being fearful for their safety by someone following them around, filming them. There could be a more legitimate case made for that for other government officials if you're following them around. And I mean, I think it could be a legitimate charge of harassment if you're actually hounding them and following them. I mean, think of how would you feel? You would absolutely, I would wager, you would absolutely want someone charged if they were constantly following you and filming you as you're trying to go about your life. So treat others the way you'd like to be treated. And if you would want someone to be charged with harassment for doing that to you, could happen if you were following someone around. So these are some things to keep in mind. Of course, many viewers might strongly disagree with me and say, no, we have the right to do this. And again, as I mentioned in the law section, you probably do. But as a practical consideration, is it worth the potential consequences? Are you actually going to have any positive results other than making yourself feel good? So I think that's something to keep in mind. And as you can tell from my overall comments, I'm not a fan of this whole auditing thing. But this video isn't legal advice, so you do you, as the modern saying is. But I've given my opinion, and if you need legal advice, contact a lawyer, and they can give you specific advice tailored to your situation. And my contact information is below if I'm the lawyer that you'd like to consult. If there's a show topic you'd like to see us cover, please send an email to the email address listed below or leave a comment in the comment section. And if you found this video at all interesting, helpful, or informative, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and following us on social media.